Over the last 2 years, I've purchased and reviewed dozens of different speculative crypto miners on this channel. In this video, I'm going to share exactly how I made $7,438 with those miners in March of 2024. This is a monthly series where I track my income from crypto mining and running crypto nodes, minus my current expenses such as electric and hosting costs, so I can share with you my net income for the month. I think it's pretty obvious now we're in a new crypto bull market. Many of the projects we got into early on this channel have paid off many times over just in the past few months. And we have a lot more projects which are about to go live in the coming months. More on those later in the video. Most of the projects we'll be reviewing today fall within crypto's DPIN space, which stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. It involves using blockchain technology and token incentives to build and maintain physical infrastructure and solve real-world problems. I think DPIN will be one of the biggest winners of this bull market, so it's not something you should dismiss. Now, I don't share these numbers with you every month to brag about how much money I'm making. I put this analysis together to keep you up to date on the profitability of every miner I've reviewed for you on this channel. Stay tuned because I have a refresh return on investment or ROI analysis for all these miners, which I'll share with you later in the video. Now, this video takes me a long time to put together for you every month, so if you find this video helpful each month, please hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. And if you want to get into the next projects before they blow up, like many have recently, consider subscribing as well. I'm always looking to bring you reviews of new and exciting crypto projects. So I have these projects sorted from most to least profitable. We'll get some high-level commentary over each. We'll start off from the top. So number one project for the month is once again my HiveMapper dash cams. I have a double dash cam set up in my car, so I have one front facing and one side facing. They contributed a total of $2,237 in net income for the month. We go to my Honey Calc tab, you can see my distribution over time. I have been running this double dash cam setup for 3 months now, so you can see there's quite the big increase in my monthly rewards once I started using this double dash cam setup in January. I also did tend to drive a little bit more over the past couple months since the Honey token has performed really well, so these earnings have been much better. Number two project for the month are my Bitcoin miners. I have 6 S19 Pro 110 terahash Bitcoin miners. I have these hosted with BitCap hosting. I pay an 8 cent per kilowatt hour hosting rate with BitCap, so total expenses for the month for this is $1,164 for net income of $1,127 for the month. Now, I do have an annual contract with them, and that came up for renewal this month. I did end up actually renewing for another year. I think we're still going to see some bullish action for Bitcoin over the next year, so I'm going to continue to mine with these Bitcoin miners, even though they are a little older models, and the profitability is going to decrease pretty substantially after the halving. We've seen continued increases in mining difficulty over the last 3 months, and that's been a trend we've been seeing for years now. If we go to my Bitcoin mining calc tab, so essentially what I did here is I calculated what the impact of the halving likely will be on these miners, because essentially on April, I think they're thinking April 19th or April 20th, we'll have a Bitcoin halving. So the output from these miners will essentially be cut in half. So your income will decrease from $12.32 per day per miner down to approximately $6.16. So right now at this point, we would need to see approximately a 1.3% increase in Bitcoin's price by the halving for these miners to continue to be profitable. I think long term, especially over the next couple months and years, we're going to see substantially higher Bitcoin prices. So I'm not necessarily very worried about these miners being unprofitable for very long. Now, one thing about this analysis is I'm not taking into account any future mining difficulties. So obviously mining is going to get more difficult over time as more miners come online. And I'm not taking into account any potential Bitcoin transaction fee changes, which is that's helped to contribute to some higher profitability for Bitcoin miners over the last couple months. So we'll see how things work out after the halving, but I'm not too worried, especially if it's very short term. We see some unprofitability for these miners that may end up turning them off for a couple months. Number three project for the month is my Solana Saga phone. I got this back in January due to the potential airdrops I was going to receive for them. We did see some substantial airdrop value changes and new airdrops this month, contributing $576 for the month. If we go to my Solana Saga tab, you can see here some big changes in the value of some of our previous airdrops this month. $96 in additional value for our bonk, $82 for Access Protocol, and then Win saw a big jump this month, a $163 change. We also saw quite a few new airdrops come into my wallet this month, contributing to some additional income for this Solana Saga phone. So total value to date of these airdrops is currently $1,703 versus the $2,200 I spent for this in early January off eBay. I did end up paying up for this device. I think if you could have gotten this originally from Solana when they were available for sale, I think it was going for $500 or $600. But obviously I paid up for mine, but I think long term this is going to pay for itself many times over with these continued airdrops that are going into this wallet. So my plan for these is I'm not going to sell anything probably for at least a year. We're just going to see what the value of these airdrops is over time. I don't anticipate a lot of them being, holding their value long term, but we'll just see this as an experiment to see how these airdrops work out in terms of the profitability of this phone. Now, I did put in a pre-order for Solana's second version of their phone, which I think is going to be delivered either late this year or next year. The good thing is I got in on that one early, so I didn't end up having to pay up for my pre-order there. Coming at number 4 for the month are my FLUX nodes. I've had these running for, I think, a little over 2 years now. They contributed $531 for the month. We saw a nice increase in FLUX tokens price this month, up 25%. I have these hosted with Goldie Tech nodes. It's been a nice hosting service for my FLUX nodes. Okay, number 5 project for the month is my HiFix Space Weather Station. This mines the Geo token. I've also been running this for, I think it's almost 2 years now. This has been a very profitable project, especially in the last couple of months as we've seen the Geo token jump up in price. You can see it's up 46% just this month, contributing $319 for the month. If we go over to my Geo token calc, you can see my monthly rewards are staying consistent right around 46, 47 tokens per day. The maximum tokens you can earn per day is 48 tokens per day, but I do have some trees around my house, so I think that's contributing to some slight decrease in rewards I'm seeing every day, but it's not a huge deal for me. Other thing to note with GeoNet is they do have an annual halving, so we should see a halving in our rewards come, I think it's the end of June is when it goes into effect. So a couple more months until these amounts are halving, and then we'll be earning probably 23, 24 tokens per day. But I've been very happy with GeoNet, especially over the last couple of months as the profitability of this thing has jumped up substantially. Number 6 project for the month are my Fry miners. I have 2 new miners for Fry this month. One thing of note with Fry is we did see a pretty substantial decrease in the Fry token price this month, down 72%. We go to my Fry Calc tab. So my 2 new miners this month are my Fry Outdoor Wildlife Camera and my Fry WeatherXM BYOD license. So because of the decrease in the Fry token price over the last 11 days, they actually have a multiplier that goes into effect when the token price goes under 1 cent. So now that it's under 1 cent, you get a 2x earnings. So I've got my distribution of daily earnings for each device here. You can see the double earnings once this multiplier went in effect these last 10 days. So total monthly earnings of 46,000 Fry tokens. Okay, number 7 project for the month are my Steppen NFT shoes. This also had a nice increase in their token price this month, up 280%. I know at one point it was up over, I think the token price got up to like 13 cents, so a huge spike. I looked on their Discord, I didn't see any news or anything that was driving that spike, but if anyone's aware of what happened there, I'd be interested to find out what happened, but I won't complain about the increase in profitability there. We're looking at $223 in net income for stepping and walking around my house per month. Okay, coming in at number 8 for the month is my Helium Bobcat 500. This is a 5G device from Bobcat that mines the mobile token. So this is a different device than your standard IoT Bobcat miner, but contributing $206 for the month. This has also been a big winner for me. I deployed this deep into the bear market based on testnet, and I used to get paid out tons and tons of tokens, and that's really paid for this device many times over so far. So contributing $207 for the month, not too shabby for my Helium 5G device. Coming at number 9 are my DIMO data miners. I have 2 of these deployed in 2 different vehicles. We go to my DIMO calc tab, calculating the change week over week, which I've been doing for the last several months for you. We're seeing an average of about a 5.6% decrease week over week for this month. Now, one thing to note with March, I only have 4 weeks of data because the payout for this last week of March will come late tonight, early tomorrow morning, so April 1st, and I'm filming this video here on March 31st. So we would potentially see another week. So next month, we'll probably see an additional week of data. This 5.6% decrease in rewards week over week has been pretty consistent over the last several months, especially as the DIMO token has performed quite well. So there's a lot of people getting into this project. Coming number 10 is PiFi. I just did a video on this 2 days ago. They did just launch their token here at the end of March, and they completed their airdrop. So the value here is essentially the value of the airdrop I received for having my device on for, I think it's about 18 months, so contributing $130 so far. My plan for this airdrop is really to just hold this and watch the project hopefully continue to grow, and hopefully we'll see an increase in this airdrop value over time, similar to what we saw with DIMO. Number 11 is my phone farm, where I mine the Varus coin. I have 49 phones connected to this phone farm. The one thing with this project is it has been a nice set it and forget it project. With the software I have running on these phones, I really don't have to mess with them very much at all, which is nice to see out of a project like this. So contributing $76 for the month. Number 12 is Crank, contributing $57 for the month. Another pretty poor month for the value of the Crank token, but hopefully we see that reverse sometime in the future. It seems like it's always just been straight downhill for Crank, but I like what they're building with that project, and it seems like they have a really strong team. So let's see, give them some more time and see how Crank works out long term. Number 13 is my streamer node. I have this staked on the streamer network, contributing $54 for the month. Number 14, we have my pre-search nodes. I now have 15 nodes contributing a total of $38 for the month. One thing of note with pre-search this month, I did end up selling 2/3 of my pre-search tokens this month, and that's due to some real poor performance of the pre-search token so far this bull market. If you look at the token price, we're basically still at bear market lows for the pre-search token, so I made the decision to kind of cut some of my losses here so I could reallocate those funds to some better performing projects. At this point, it doesn't seem like pre-search is going to make it long term. I don't see them making any headway towards taking stake from Google. When you look at their socials, there's not a whole lot of interest, and there's obviously not a lot of interest in people speculating or buying the pre-search token. So I made the decision to kind of cut some of my losses here. I'll still run some pre-search nodes, but I don't really want to allocate any future funds towards this unless it's starting to perform better. Number 15 are the ETCMC nodes. This has also been quite a poor performer these last couple of months. Looks like down another 61% this month, contributing just $31 for the month. Number 16, we have my iPolo G1 minis. I have 3 of these in the solo mine grid. We found 16 blocks solo mining grid this month, contributing a net $31. Now, I did actually end up selling all my grid that I've mined over the last several months. I ended up selling it this morning. Grid is not a project I'd want to hold long term, so I just use it every few months. I end up selling my grid and converting it into Bitcoin. All right, next project, we have Mapmetrics. Contributed a total of $29 for the month. We are seeing quite a bit of volatility in the MMAP token price these last several months. That's because there's not a centralized exchange yet to trade the token. They did just make an announcement a couple days ago that they will be listing on Bitmart, but there is no ETA yet for the listing for the MMAP token. So this price I have here is from a DEX that I found. It's called Famous Foxes. There's very little trading activity, so it creates some volatile price action for the MMAP tokens. Number 18, we have my Deeper Connect Mini. Nothing really going on here with this project. We did have the Deeper halving 2 months ago, but contributing $26 for the month. Number 19, we have Helium Bobcat IoT. I have 5 of these, but 2 of them are down, and they happen to be the ones that are mining Crank. Still need to fix this, but a really poor performance for the IoT token this month, down 40%. So just contributing just under $5 for me for this month. They're also not very great locations. That's really contributing to some of those poor earnings for these devices. Number 20, the Exa miner. This is also still on testnet. Mine was offline for about 2 weeks this month. I was doing some moving of my devices around, and this one got shut off accidentally. So no earnings for me this month. I saw Exa miner is doing a migration over to Solana. So they're working on doing that over the next couple months. So we'll be on the lookout to see how that goes. Number 21, we have Onakoi. This is a newish project for me as well. I just got this up and running a couple months ago and did a video on it. It's similar to GeoNet in that you do space weather mining. I actually have this dual mining with my GeoNet high-fix GeoNet antenna up on my roof. I use a splitter, and then it splits the signal over to both receivers. I'm seeing good results in terms of Onakoi so far at this point, but this is still on testnet, and they're expecting to have a token launch here, hopefully in Q2. But I looked and I haven't seen any updates over the last couple weeks in terms of if they're still going to go on with that token launch in Q2. So we'll wait and see on that. Number 22, Wingbits. This is also still on testnet. This is a flight tracking project. Number 23, we have WeatherXM, also still on testnet. They were supposed to go live with their token in February, but at the last minute, they ended up delaying the go live because they wanted to raise additional funds from investors. But they haven't given any update yet in terms of how that's going or when they're going to have the token launch. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on WeatherXM, but I would not expect that probably anytime soon. It seems like everything kind of takes a little longer with WeatherXM, but we waited this long, so what's in a few more months, all right? Number 24, Modus Mini. This is a drive to earn project similar to DIMO. I did a video on this 2 months ago, and then they have an airdrop coming when their token launches, which I think they're expecting their token launch to happen either, I think in April, but possibly in May. And they did end up changing their airdrop eligibility last month and made a video on that as well. Essentially, if you order their device before their token go live, you'll be eligible for a portion of the airdrop. So it's a nice, cheap project to get into, but there are some negatives. So watch my video on that if you want to learn more about Modus, because I've got some pretty strong negatives about this project and the frustration I've had with getting my device set up. Number 25, the Glaxis engines. I have 3 of these. They also were expecting a token launch in Q2, but I looked on their Discord. There's no announcement of that yet. This is kind of a what I would call a fake node project. So I don't know that there's going to be a lot of good value created out of this project long term, but we'll wait and see. We move over to the miner graveyard. There's no additions to the graveyard this month, but one thing I want to note here is essentially we've got quite the list of gold shell miners. Basically every gold shell mini box miner that I own is now unprofitable in this graveyard. What my plan for these is hopefully the profitability will start to creep back up as we get further along in this bull market. And I'll be looking to sell essentially all my gold shell mini box miners as we get through this bull market. The goal is to essentially move away from these mini ASIC miners. I don't see them being sustainable and profitable long term. So once there starts to be develop a good market for these, as these become more profitable, I'll be looking to sell a lot of these off. I don't really want to get into these high electric costs in terms of running these mini box miners from home. Next, let's look at the ROI, or return on investment analysis, or sometimes called a break-even analysis, for all the different miners that we reviewed today. We'll start off with the assumptions I'm making so we can level set. First, the fair market value estimates I have here are based on recent comparable miner sales I'm seeing on eBay. In instances where I can't find a price on eBay, I'll take the price that's currently being sold for on the manufacturer's website. These are not my purchase costs. In almost all cases, I paid quite a bit more for a lot of these miners than you can currently purchase them for today. That's just what happens with mining. Prices decline over time. Second, these are current month net income. These are my income amounts and my expenses. Yours could obviously be different. This is as of a point in time, end of March 2024. The value of these miners and the income amounts will obviously vary over time. And finally, this is not financial advice, so don't use this as your complete justification to purchase a miner or a node. So what I have here in column B, I do have a color coding system, and basically it's my high level thoughts on the quality of the miner and the project. Green, I would consider top tier projects. Yellow, I've got some major concerns, but it could be positive. And then red are some of the projects just have poor tokenomics or poor history. So those are ones I would potentially stay away from. So I have these ROIs sorted by break-even days from shortest to longest, and we'll do some high-level commentary over each. The number one, once again this month, obviously, are my Hivemapper dash cams with just a 13-day break-even time at this point. They did announce their new Hivemapper B last month. They're expecting Q3 delivery on that. Right now, if you purchase a Hivemapper B, you will get a 2,500 honey token bonus once you drive, I think it's like 2,000 kilometers or something like that. It's not a whole lot of driving. So it essentially fully pays for the device. The value that I have here for the device doesn't take into account to that honey token bonus that would substantially decrease your price, assuming the honey token. It depends on what the honey token price is by the time you receive your bonus too, right? Number two, project PiFi. Now this ROI is very distorted because this includes my airdrop this month. Almost the entire value there, that $129, is that airdrop. I did the calculation yesterday. I think this thing is only making like 6 cents per day. So obviously that ROI is going to be completely off here. I think Pi-Fi is more of a speculative bet, especially if you already have a air quality sensor. It could be fun to hook that up, especially since the licenses I think are only like $70. Number 3 is my HyFix Geonet station. I have this one in green. This one's been a great performer, especially over the last several months. The Geo token has really taken off, and it's decreasing the break-even time for this device pretty substantially. You're looking at a less than 2-month break-even time at this point. For the triple van version on their website, you're looking at a May delivery at this point. I think they said 8 to 10 weeks or 8 to 12 weeks. So a little bit of wait time, but obviously the demand for this device is moving up as these things are becoming more profitable. It's on the little pricier end as well, coming in at $625. The one thing I've really enjoyed about this project is it has been a set it and forget it project. I have not messed with it in the almost 2 years now. I think I've been running my device. Maybe it's about a year and a half. Number 4, Step-In. I have this one marked as red just because it's moved to earn. It was all the craze last bull market, but it really kind of fell off. It's performed better as of late, but I don't see this being a good long-term sustainable project. But it is fun for me in terms of getting some exercise and being able to walk around and make a little cash on the side for doing so. Number 5, Mapmetrics. This is currently going for about $100 on eBay for their special position tracker. And this one marked as yellow because there is some uncertainty involving this project over the next couple of months as they try to relaunch their token and get listed on that centralized exchange. And there's obviously quite a bit of competition in this space. We'll have to see on this one. Number 6, DIMO. Right now you're looking at 8 to 12 weeks delivery for the DIMO data miner, just because this has been quite the profitable project and it's been really a set it and forget it project for me. So this one marked as green. I've been very happy with DIMO ever since we got into it almost 2 years ago. Number 7, Fry miners. I can get you a 35% discount with my discount code on this one, so it decreases the price of this. But obviously the Fry token has been quite volatile over the last couple months, kind of creating some uncertainty in terms of the profitability of these Fry miners. But it has been a good project for me in terms of profitability, getting into a lot of these miners quite early. This one probably could be marked as yellow just given the volatility of their token, but I would say between green and yellow for the Fry miners. Number 8, Solana Saga phone. This was obviously quite pricey, coming in at $2,500, but like I mentioned earlier, it's almost paid for itself just over the last couple months that I've had it, and I anticipate this is going to be quite lucrative long-term for me. Next, we have my Bitcoin miners. Like I mentioned, I have an 8 cent per kilowatt hour hosting rate with BitCap. You have a halving coming up here in April, so it creates some uncertainty in terms of the long-term profitability of these devices. I think these are 2020 models, so obviously they're getting quite old right now. Every day you've got more and more new age miners coming up line and really being able to hash at a much higher rate than mine, at least in compared to the electric costs that they incur. So I would be jumping into Bitcoin mining at this point. It's a very competitive space, so it'd be tough to stay profitable for Bitcoin mining long term with all the competition. Number 10, the Helium Bobcat miner. This one's quite pricey, but it has a nice ROI at this point. Number 11, Crank, only about $250 for their license and staking. And if you have an eligible old Helium device, a lot of those are currently eligible for onboarding, so you can dual mine with Crank. So it's been a fun set it and forget it project with Crank. Number 12, the Deeper Connect Mini. I have 75,000 Deeper tokens staked on my Deeper Connect Mini, so that's contributing to some of the higher rewards that you'll see on mine compared to if you didn't have anything staked. So that's something to keep in mind with the Deeper Connect Mini. I would not expect you to have the duplicate earnings that I have unless you also staked a substantial amount of Deeper tokens. Number 13, Phone Farm. This is a nice beginner mining project, I would say. It's low cost, it's relatively easy to set up, and it's nice and set it and forget it. So if you have kids or something that want to get interested in crypto mining, I think setting up a small phone farm might be a fun thing to get them start learning about cryptocurrency mining. Number 14, Streamer Node. Obviously, this is distorted because you're really just staking your tokens and earning an ROI by staking those tokens onto the node. So keep that in mind anytime you've got staking involved in terms of the ROI, the break-even days. Number 15, the iPolo G1 Minis. Quite the long break-even time at this point, so I would probably stay away from these. just because I don't see this staying sustainable long term. Number 16, ETCMC nodes. I would stay away from this. The profitability has really been in the dumps for these. It was good we got into it early on this channel, but at this point, yeah, I would probably stay away from these. Number 17, Bobcat IoT devices. Like I mentioned, I don't have the best locations for mine, so if you can find a better location and pick up a cheap hotspot, it might be fun to set up there. Number 18, we have our FLUX nodes. There's a pretty low ROI at this point, but the FLUX token has been performing well, so I'll continue to run my FLUX nodes. 19, the pre-search nodes. I would probably stay away from these at this point just because the profitability has been in the dumps, as well as the token has not performed well. And finally, we have the testnet projects. The ones I would probably consider more highly of are these four, but Galaxis Engine and FutureBit Apollo and Examiner, there's quite a bit of uncertainty involved with those projects, so I would lean towards staying away from those projects at this point. If you're interested in purchasing any of these miners, I've got links and discount codes for a lot of them, which I'll put in the description below. I hope you had a great month. I'll see you next time. Bye.